When people say,
when you sit in a chair, like I'm sitting in this chair right now,
I'm actually hovering over this chair.
but actually my butt is hovering above the chair by this just tiny, tiny amount.
Because of the electrons of my body
Because the electrons of my butt,
are repelling the electrons of this chair.
it's not us actually touching the subatomic material of the object.
is that really true? Does it mean that MC Hammer has just been singing about physics all along?
You can't touch this.
Alas, this doesn't take into account the fact that the universe is quantum mechanical. For example, you probably know that electrons behave like spread out waves, and from chemistry you probably also know that it's perfectly fine for two negatively charged electrons to share the same energy level of an atom or molecule, as long as they have their intrinsic spins oriented in opposite directions. So even though electrons repel each other, their wave packets can overlap. For example, check out this image of a ring of iron atoms sitting on the surface of copper. See the overlap of the spread out electrons? Now, would you call that touching? If you look at a dictionary, touch is usually defined as physical contact, while contact is defined as touching physically. Not much help. But most people have this intuitive idea that touch is something like two solid objects so close together there's no space between them. The trouble is, this doesn't have anything to do with overlapping waves, which, as we know, are how electrons actually behave. So it seems that touch is a word that may just be incapable of describing the actual universe as we understand it today. Either that, or we should change our notion of touch to mean interaction at short distance, which is really what happens between electrons when you sit on a chair. But regardless of whether or not we ever actually touch anything, I think that when we talk about the electromagnetic repulsion of your butt and your chair, what we're really trying to say is, hey, remember how cool it is that we're made of atoms and molecules, and that other people made of atoms and molecules were clever enough to figure that out? Now that is touching. This episode of Minute Physics is supported by Audible.com, the leading provider of audiobooks across all types of literature, including fiction, nonfiction, and periodicals. I highly recommend Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman, a hilarious and fascinating autobiography of the amazing man and physicist Richard Feynman, and you can download this audiobook or another of your choice for free at audible.com/minutephysics. Again, thanks to Audible for making it possible for me to keep producing Minute Physics, and for giving you a free audiobook at audible.com/minutephysics.